Without the use of this gadget, Robert has no voice.
I have to put it there so that it amplifies my moving as a group of boys, young boys. Then I graduated to a whole stick, 2 cigarettes a day. I continued like that by the time I finished school and got employment, and that was way back in 1970. That's when I started the first cigarette. After I finished O-level, I went to work, so I continued increasing the rate of smoking because I could now afford.
Robert says this habit led to an illness that almost cost him his life.
I was diagnosed with larynx cancer, that is the cancer of the voice box, in the year 2003. Initially, I had a hoarse voice, and I didn't know it was a problem until I met a doctor friend of mine who happened to be an ENT doctor. He heard the way I'm talking, then he told me, "Robert, I think there is something wrong with your voice. Some words are missing from your sentences." So he advised me to go and meet him at Kenyatta National Hospital the following day, and they checked on my voice. I went to Kenyatta. He referred me to another doctor, a lady doctor, who advised me and took my history. She told me that the best thing to know whether there is a problem or what the problem is in my voice is to take a biopsy from the voice and take it to the lab.
This was a turning point for the father of 3 who purposed to beat the disease by seeking treatment.
After the diagnosis, she told me, "Robert, you are very lucky because your cancer is in its very early stage. What you will need to do is to stop smoking forthwith if you want to survive." So that's when I made up my mind and said, "I'll never smoke again." I remember vividly, I had 8 cigarettes in my pocket, and I went and put them in my wall unit, and I told my wife, "Those cigarettes, I will never smoke again." Those 8 cigarettes stayed on my wall unit where I could see them every day, and they stayed there for a whole year. That's when I realized, surely I will never smoke again, because I was seeing them every day and I never dared.
He went through 33 sessions of standard radiotherapy treatment, and that, he says, was the last time he smoked.
During my campaigns, everyday campaigns, I tell anybody who is abusing alcohol and other drugs to remember, always to remember, that choices have consequences, and I encourage them to stop, because the pain I went through was just too much that I wouldn't want to see any other person going through the same pain.
He lost his voice after a surgery, but he did not lose hope. He continues to counsel addicts as well as patients who find themselves in a similar situation.
I was introduced to this machine while I was still in India. After the surgery was 12 hours. I asked the doctor through writing, now that I have completed college and have studied about addiction and drugs, now my voice is gone. How will I communicate to the masses about the dangers of tobacco? That doctor told me, "Don't worry, if you recover well, we shall introduce you to a machine called electrolarynx machine, and if you practice and practice and practice, you'll be able to produce a voice, and that way you will communicate to the masses about the dangers of drugs and tobacco."
Cigarette packets today carry images to warn users about the side effects, but that has not deterred users. Robert is committed to spreading the word on addiction to tobacco and its fatal consequences. The National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse has revealed worrying statistics on drug and substance abuse, particularly amongst school-going children.
NACADA is in the know about young people accessing alcohol and other substances of abuse, and it's a matter of great concern to the authority. Parenting is a challenge, and the surveys we have done is that many of these young people have actually been initiated through by the parents, all right? And they access it you have it in your fridge, you have it in the compound, in the house, and that is how the access has been an issue. Another issue which is of great concern is that we have online, markets for alcohol, and this is an area that has given us a big headache. When you sit somewhere and make a call and somebody in a cycle drops a bottle, how do you guard against the access by children? That's a big headache that we have. In fact, we are grappling with that challenge, and we find it a very, very serious problem. We have also seen when young people go for sports, somehow they are able to access alcohol very.
In a national survey carried out by NACADA on the status of drugs and substance abuse among school-going children in Kenya, it emerged that 16.9% of primary school pupils are currently using one drug or substance of abuse.
We also have increasingly got concerned about accessibility of those who are affected to rehabilitation facilities in the country. That is a big challenge, and we are currently engaging the county governments, whose mandate is actually licensing, to try and invest some of the money they raise from licensing in rehabs. And I can tell you we have seen some positive trends. Currently, I can confirm about 10 counties have already. So we are working closely with the county government to see that the issue of accessibility to services for rehabs are addressed, because that is a very big challenge. Currently, I think about 90+% of the facilities that we have are actually privately owned, commercial, therefore expensive and inaccessible to most people who require the services.
While findings show that alcohol is the most commonly abused substance among secondary school students.
The national guidelines for alcohol and drug substance use prevention and management is a response to the surveys we have done in our secondary schools, which clearly shows that we have a serious problem in those institutions. And we also are faced with a challenge where every Tom, Dick and Harry would walk in and talk to the headmaster and say, I want to talk about drugs, and they don't know what to say. So these guidelines actually are meant to provide a framework for reference when we are addressing the challenge of substances in our institutions. It will be very useful for the teachers to guide them in trying to, promote awareness and dealing with the ADA issues in our institutions.
Due to COVID restrictions, the prevalent consumption of alcohol in the presence of children continues to be an area of concern for NACADA. The International Day Against Drug Abuse presents the authority with a chance to take stock of the gains they have made, the challenges encountered, and the prospect of charting a collective way forward in the fight against drug abuse and trafficking.